Good evening, you're watching The Social Network on NDTV 24/7. I'm Neha Khanna and here's wishing you all a Merry Christmas. Well, the Aam Aadmi Party is all set to form the next government in Delhi with Arvind Kejriwal taking oath as Chief Minister on Saturday. Now, one of the many bold promises made by the Aam Aadmi Party is to end the Khas Aadmi syndrome or the VIP culture in the national capital, something Delhiites have had to live with always, however grudgingly. So Kejriwal says he will not live in a sprawling government bungalow in Lutyen's Delhi, but instead in a more humble abode. He has refused to accept any security from the Home Ministry, saying God will protect him. And the ubiquitous and much reviled Lal Battis Kejriwal promises will become a thing of the past as far as the Delhi government is concerned. And while many have welcomed this renunciation of the trappings of power by the Aam Aadmi Party, even calling it the game changer in Indian politics, others remain skeptical and ask, is this really going to make any big difference on the ground? And who's going to convince Lutyen's Delhi to follow suit? And that's what we're going to debate on the show today. We're asking, the Aam Aadmi Party shuns privileges, total change or mere tokenism? Write to us at tsn@ndtv.com with your questions, comments and feedback. You can also tweet us at TSN on NDTV. And joining us today to discuss this are Sambit Patra of the BJP, Nisha Singh, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, and also with us is Atul Sood, political analyst and a professor at the Jawaharlal Nehru University. All right, of course, everybody would agree that the party of the moment is the Aam Aadmi Party. So let me start with Nisha Singh. Nisha, of course, we are now going to have a government hopefully by the end of this week. And many have welcomed this effort on part of your party to end the VIP culture in the capital. But, you know, skeptics are asking questions like, you know, how does the decision of 6 or 7 men in the capital to, let's say, not live in a sprawling bungalow really empower the Aam Aadmi? What does it really mean for the Aam Aadmi? Is it going to be reduced to mere tokenism? Because it's the larger culture of entitlements that, you know, Delhiites are all too used to. How do you think you're going to break that?
You know, you just mentioned that is this a token measure or is it a symbol? I would, you know, put this back to you and say, you know, what did these, a big bungalow, a Lal Batti, a huge security, what were they symbols of? They were symbols of power, yes. They were symbols of exclusivity, and they were symbols of creating a difference between the electorate and the elected. Yes, you know, freeing 6 bungalows is not going to make a huge difference in you know, in terms of creating space or creating you know, freeing resources, but it sends out a message, and it sends out a message to everybody who's watching, and you know, it's got your fantasy and it's got you know, people's fantasy. That's why we're discussing it on national television today.
Right. So you make a valid point there, Nisha, that this does send out an important message, but then that's also the worry that will it just remain a message, or is it really going to make a real difference to the lives of people in Delhi? For example, the whole Lal Batti culture. It is something that, as I said in my introduction, is reviled by Delhiites. But, you know, again, just a small group of people choosing to do this. Who is going to convince Lutyen's Delhi, like I said, because Delhi is also the seat of national power. Clearly, the Congress, which is in power at the centre, has not given any indication that it's going to follow suit.
Well, maybe not in the next 10 days or in the next you know, 1 month. But if this is what people of Delhi want and appreciate, then the message goes out to the rest of the nation and you know, other cities across the nation that, well, this is what we should have in our city also, and that's when people start demanding it everywhere else, and then, you know, parties respond.
All right, let me now take that to the party which is now going to sit in the opposition in the Delhi Assembly despite emerging as the single largest party. Sambit, you've been very critical of the Aam Aadmi Party on various counts, but talking specifically about this poll promise, wouldn't you agree that it is a welcome change and has come as a breath of fresh air, something that Delhiites really are very happy about, considering how tired they were of this entire VIP culture?
Yeah, definitely. I should not say that, no, well, I would not be welcoming this welcome sign. A welcome sign is a welcome sign and should be welcomed, and I welcome it on this national television also.
Yeah.
But there are a few facts which should be set correct. First and foremost, let's know about the Delhi VIP culture. Most of the VIP culture that is reflected in the Delhi circles belongs to the center. As far as the Delhi state is concerned, only the chief minister is allowed to have a so-called Lal Batti or a beacon car. Most of the MLAs do not possess a beacon car, and they did not have either in the past also. None of them had a bungalow, and most of them stayed in their own homes. Thirdly, and most important,
which means you're saying it gets reduced to maybe just a couple of individuals.
Just a couple of individuals. And thirdly, and very importantly, recently we are all aware of the fact that the Supreme Court took notice of this whole issue as far as the beacon car concept is concerned, and came out with an order.
Saying
and the order states, yes,
authorities.
and the order states that constitutionally those who are allowed to possess a beacon car should have one. And let me tell you categorically over here, the people who are supposed to have a beacon car in Delhi are the Chief Minister of Delhi, the Speaker of Delhi, the Chief Justice of Delhi. Now, can I ask my counterpart from Aam Aadmi Party, would they do away with the red light car, I mean the Lal Batti car of the Chief Justice of Delhi? I believe that is constitutionally allowed to the Chief Justice of Delhi.
Yeah.
Secondly, and most importantly, is not that simplicity in politics is a first time game over here. Okay. Simplicity has always been at the core of politics from the very beginning.
Okay.
Remember, when simplicity was the talk of the town, then Jawaharlal Nehru's quote were the talk of the town, and his persona was also a talk of town.
Let's get to Nishan quickly before I go across to Atul Sood. You heard Sambit there saying that, well, you know, maybe it's welcome, but how much of a difference is it really going to make? And is the Aam Aadmi Party really the first party to have ever talked about it? Many believe it is. But how would you respond to what he's saying?
He just talked about, are we going to ask the Chief Justice to stop using a Lal Batti or others? We are not here to ask others. We are here to follow our own ideology, and you're right. I mean, this is not a topic or a gesture that's going to maybe make a huge difference, but it's about and you know, eventually we've just started. Eventually the debate will shift.
Let me bring in our third guest at this point, Professor Atul Sood of the Jawaharlal Nehru University. Professor Sood, you heard the two parties there, but really, you know, the larger question that's often asked is, you know, the Aam Aadmi is talking about redistributing power and wealth in the capital. Many would say power for you know, electricity, for example, or water supply is largely concentrated again in central Delhi. How exactly is the Aam Aadmi party going to ensure that it is redistributed? Are they, for example, going to start cutting off power supply to some parts of Delhi for a few hours every day? Is this practical?
Look, I mean, I don't know what Aam Aadmi Party would do, but really the point that we are talking about is that, you know, if you look at the practice of governance over the last many years, this practice of governance has, you know, been of the kind where, you know, big houses, big cars have become symbols of power. And as the spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party said, that they are raising these issues in terms of the symbols of power, symbols of privilege. Now the question is that how, so that means these symbols of, they are only mere symbols of power. They are not the real reason behind the privilege. They are not the source of privilege. So what we really want now, the debate to move on to, and what we want to hear and look at a program and a vision from the Aam Aadmi Party is to answer two sets of questions. One is that what has been in the process of development in the last many years, that the benefits of development had been garnered by few people. So that really, what is the vision of the Aam Aadmi Party, or an understanding in terms of what has been behind this process of development. And the second issue is that how do we convert the practice of development and move from Aam Aadmi, and I hope that we actually move to Aam Aurat, especially a landless Dalit Aurat at some point of time. How do we make that Aam Aadmi and Aam Aurat to khas? I think that's the real problem and the real challenge. So the two questions that we need to be debating this today, not the symbols. You see, if you look at the discussion you just had in last few minutes and the response of the BJP as well, it's all about symbols, whether the Chief Justice will have the beacon light or not.
Let me
that
take
really
that to
is
Nisha.
not the issue.
Right, let me take that to Nisha. Nisha, like I've been saying from the beginning of this discussion, that is the worry. While nobody is questioning your intent on trying to send out the right message, the worry is, will it remain as just that?
Okay, we've sort of got used to this cynicism from the media and the pundits, but you know, every step of the way we have delivered, and that's what I was coming to. I said this is something that we said we'll do, and we've just done it in our stride. This is not the debate. It's actually about the steps that we will take to empower the system. You know, when you talk about power, we want to push it down, and we want to push the power down and empower the person on the on the ground through our mohalla sabhas, through discussion, through.
But again, Nisha, a lot of skepticism has been expressed on that as well, and I'm sorry to be playing the devil's advocate, but that's my job here on the show. For example, you know, the whole Mohalla Sabha concept, many have welcomed it, and then there are others who say, how are they going to run the government if they're going to go back to the Mohalla Sabhas and hold a referendum on every major policy decision? I know the effort you'll say is to again, pass on power to the Aam Aadmi, but could that result in policy paralysis?
Look, we have, as you know, we have a system in place already, and that's the reason why we were able to engage so many people with with our elections. You know, we didn't fight this election without the Aam Aadmi. The Aam Aadmi fought this election for themselves. So the system is in place. I mean, just give us time.